It seems like it's been quite a long time since I've actually gotten my hands dirty and worked on one of these cars, and today we're getting right back into that with the 9.3. We have so many little things we need to do to this car, and we're going to tackle at least a couple of them in today's video, hopefully. So without further ado, let's get into it. There's one particular issue with this car that has bugged me to no end for the better part of a year, and I've just not gotten around to fix it, and that is this ambient temperature sensor. The car has not been washed since before our Arizona meet in November, so you have to forgive me for that. It's also long overdue for a wash, but the temperature sensor sits right here in the center of the lower grille of the bumper. You might have noticed that I had one in my hand, so I actually did already replace the sensor, thinking that maybe my sensor just went bad and that would fix it. That, of course, is not the case. So I can show you guys what happens here. The car just gives me absolutely no temperature reading at all. So a couple ways we can kind of diagnose this. Now that I know it's not just the sensor, which is of course the easy fix, I want to try using today's sponsor to see if we can figure out what's wrong with this. The sponsor of today's video is ThinkCar. They sent me out their really cool and extremely comprehensive tool scanner. So the way this thing works is it has the Bluetooth OBD2 connector magnetized to the back of the scanner. But if I plug that in here, we have a whole host of different things we can do. So we, of course, want to figure out if there's any code that's telling me what could possibly be wrong with our ambient temperature sensor. So I'm going to go under the diagnose function. You can see just how many brands they have under here, and I think this is one important reason why if you're someone who works on cars as like a backyard mechanic or you own a shop, I think a tool like this is critical to have, because myself, obviously I own Saabs, I have the Audi, we also have a RAV4 parked out back there, but it's good to have something, the Tech 2 is great for the Saabs, but it doesn't really help with anything else that we own. So while this cannot technically marry modules in the same way that a Tech 2 can, what I have found so far is incredibly impressive with the amount of information it can give me, and I'll show you guys that here in a second. So kind of similar to what you would do with a Tech 2, I'm going to start by putting in my year, my model, and I want to let's try scanning for body codes. So here, again, same thing you get on a Tech 2. Look, they have every single module in here, which is just crazy. Like you could scan for SIM codes if you're having SIM issues. It's got just about everything. Now, I want to start by scanning the body control module because I'm thinking that's where we might find our code. So if I click on that, it's just going to communicate. It's going to give me my VIN and tell me the module it's going to scan, so we'll just hit OK. If there's any sort of live data testing or data reading we can do, it can also do that, but we're mostly interested in our diagnostic trouble codes or fault codes. And here you can see we actually got a code. So this is the exact same code that I got when I scanned on my Tech 2. Now with the Tech 2, you then got to pull up your computer or go on your phone, but actually really cool, if I hit code search, it automatically pulls up Google Chrome, searches the code, and look at the first thing that pops up, outside temp sensor, and it's a Saab Central forum. Here we go, we have an answer. Check this connector, should be over towards, I know exactly where that connector is at. Blue and green wires are the temp sensor. So let's check to see if, and there's a lot more information on here as well, it looks like. New temp unit, new bumper harness installed, still doesn't work. So I'll read through this off camera, but you can just see it literally can pull up Saab Central on here and give me vital information, which is super cool. Also, I think it's funny, it linked my quick fix video here as well. Shout out to the Google algorithm for doing its job. Last little feature I'll show you, of course, you can also clear codes and do, tons more features that I'd have to make a whole 20-minute video on to show the features of it. But you can actually generate a report and put, vital information about the car if you own a shop or it's one of your cars that you want to put this information on about, and it generates like a PDF or, something that you can share via Bluetooth or email with yourself. So extremely cool, very just helpful. Like if you own multiple car brands, I think this is a fantastic investment. because it'll work on all of them. I was able to scan codes on the Audi. The RAV4 is new enough, it did not have any codes, but very useful tool. So again, thank you to Think Car for sponsoring this video. And let's see if we can figure out, with that new information, why our temperature sensor is not working. While it will technically be possible for me to access the wiring and the plug without taking the bumper off, I have a feeling we're going to need to do quite a bit of detailed inspection on this harness. So I'm going to actually remove the whole bumper. Upon my initial search, I don't see anything obvious with this wiring harness, so I'm going to have to take a bit of a closer look off camera. And whoa, look at the size of that bug. How did that even get back there? I think I figured out what our issue is. So I inspected the harness a bit closer, and I noticed there was a lot of electrical tape over this section of the wiring harness. So I was in here about a year ago, and I noticed that some of these wires at the time were corroded and kind of burning together. So I kind of re-spliced this harness together, as you can see, and as a result fixed my fog lights. However, as you can also see, our green wire, as soon as I pulled it out of the harness, it was just not connected to anything. And so I think that this white and orange wire is supposed to be connected to it, because I remember being very intentional when I did this last time. You'll notice a lot of the wire colors don't necessarily match. However, that's how it was when I pulled the harness apart and fixed the fog lights. What I noticed from reading on Saab Central is there's technically supposed to be a harness plug back here. There is not one on my car. I followed this harness the whole way up down into here. You can see my thumb right there. There is no connector anywhere. Needless to say, what I'm hoping and praying is the case is I just need to re-splice this and we'll be good to go. I'm thinking the fact there's no connector here might be a weird 2003 only thing. I don't know, maybe someone in the comments can explain that to me. However, as well as what's up with these mismatched wire colors, because again, I am certain these are correct. And if I am correct about what I just said, that should mean that splicing these two back together will fix our issue. So let's do that. So unfortunately, my problem is that I don't necessarily have connectors. This gauge of wire is so thin. I don't necessarily have connectors that are small enough to fit these as they should. Give it a light tug. It's not coming off, so that's good. Okay, let's plug everything back in and see if it works. All right, all of our connectors are plugged in. Let's see if we get a temperature reading. Oh, no way! We actually fixed it. Oh, what a relief. I have some electrical tape and a couple of zip ties I cut. I'm gonna fix all this, clean it up, make it look pretty, and then let's get the bumper put back on. I'm no electrician, but that's gonna at least weatherproof those wires. But without further ado, let's reinstall our bumper and splash guard. Let's move on to our next task for today's video. Not sure why I closed the hood in the last clip, because we do need the hood open. What I have in my hand right here are a set of junkyard coil packs, which generally I would never recommend getting coil packs at a junkyard. These ones are OEM, and the reason why I gambled on these, or maybe gambled isn't the right term, but a friend of mine's car actually ended up at the yard. I needed to get the blower motor resistor off it, which you saw in a recent video. You can click up here and check that out. But he did mention to me that he actually had somewhat new coil packs. So there were 3 of them there. Someone must have grabbed the 4th one. But I figure, I didn't buy the warranty on these. They were about 20 bucks a piece. So let's throw these in the car, and I want to take it for a quick test drive just to confirm that these coil packs are good. And if they aren't, then I guess we just lost 60 bucks. Coil packs, as most of you are probably aware, are a very easy thing to replace. If you're wondering where I got this coil pack cover from, you can check out the video in the top corner. When I refinished my valve cover wrinkle black, this just went so well with it, and I'm still so happy with how this looks under here. All right, I think I'll leave cylinder 1 as is since I only have 3 of them, and I'm saying that out loud for the sake of future me. Don't worry, I'm not torquing these down. I have it on the low setting. First thing I'll do before we actually take it for a drive, just to be 100% certain, is the ECID actually does show misfire counts per cylinder. This has not been cleared since I installed the ECID, so I'm not really worried about those numbers being that high. But if we hold down the clear button, it'll clear that. So we can keep that up as we're driving along. If you're interested in checking out the ECID video, what this thing is all about, you can click up here in the top corner. Well, I think I might have wasted $60. I was just sitting here waiting to turn out of the neighborhood, and the car just randomly bucked 2 or 3 times, and now I have misfire counts. But let's let this thing heat up, and then we'll see what's up. But while we wait for the car to warm up, a couple things I want to talk about. You probably already noticed I do have a check engine light on my dash. I'll put the code on the screen here. I can't find anything super conclusive online about that code. So if anyone has any insight on what that problem could be, please let me know. It's a code that comes on, once every maybe 30, 40 drive cycles. And it doesn't seem to affect the drivability at all. So that's one thing I'd like to actually fix instead of continuing to clear the code. But on top of that, I do still need to fix my fuel pump issue. Basically, I got stranded in Payson earlier this summer, which is about 100 miles away. I'll link the video in the top corner on that. That was a whole event and ordeal. So I need to figure that issue out because I currently have the stock fuel pump back in with the intermittently failing fuel level sender. I also still have the LED out on my NG95 cluster I need to sort out. One of my AC lines also has a very small leak, so I'd like to replace that and fix it. The system still holds a charge for now, but that's also pretty low on the to-do list, but it's on there. I have the new line already. And I also have new rear control arm bushings from PowerFlex that I need to do. That was hopefully supposed to be done before SOC, but I just ran out of time. My steering wheel has also been crooked since I reinstalled my wheel last time. I don't know how that's even possible since the steering shaft is grooved. And don't even get me started on the 900. That car almost left me stranded a few weeks ago, and I just haven't touched it since. I want to get back to it soon and enjoy it while the weather's still nice, but probably won't be for a little bit. But let's see if this thing misfires. All right, that's a good 3rd gear pull. I did get a couple of misfires, especially on cylinder 3, but I think that's kind of typical. Love watching that altimeter, speedometer go up as you speed up. Check out those old cars. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going way too fast. So that makes me feel pretty good to know that we do have 3 good known coils as spares in case of emergency. Always good to have a spare good coil or 2. Keep in your trunk, you never know if you might need it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I was hoping to get more done today, but this video ran quite a lot longer than I thought it would. So again, please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm so close to 100,000 subscribers. I'll see y'all in the next one.